Like we were talking about the trailer and the film, I swear जब जो ये response आया ना तो कहीं ना कहीं मुझे लगा ये यार not bad कि अभी तक जो भी चुना है जिस भी reason की वजह से, and that has happened because my intention, I swear, has been so pure.
You know, Rahman's comment today was very interesting. He said we are sending the wrong films to them.
Exactly.
Because their understanding of India is not this.
Not this.
What we may think is not, like they gave Slumdog Millionaire an Oscar.
Yeah.
Because they said ki this is India.
This is India.
Salam Bombay is the India that we live in, right?
Yeah.
So, but this is changing. Hi, this is Kunal, Kemmu.
Hi, I'm Shweta, Tripathi, Sharma,
And
and you're watching us on PeepingMoon.
Hello everyone, welcome to PeepingMoon.com. I'm Rashita, Sahni, and today joining me for a super interesting conversation are Kunal and Shweta, the supremely talented cast of Kanjoos Makhichoos. Hi you guys, how have you been?
Very good, thank you.
Very good.
You're most welcome. You know, when I was watching the trailer, the one thing that hit my mind was, of course, it's like a comedy drama, but the storyline is very quirky. Like, I haven't seen something similar for a very long time, at least in the web space and the theaters. So when the script came to you guys, what was that first thought that initiated a yes?
For me, it's pretty much how you described it. You know, when you heard it, what was nice about it is it's very simple.
Yeah.
It's very easy to understand. It's very relatable. And yet there is a nice story which I think will translate into which I hope translate into a film that, you know, everybody can watch together, or kids can watch it separately, and you know, the elders can watch it, and everybody will find something to get entertained by. And I think besides humor, there's a really nice family values and culture that's kind of is embedded in the film very organically.
Yeah.
Nothing is forced in it. So all of those things were very even visible even when you heard it, because he had written with so much clarity. Vipul Mehta, who's written and directed the film. It was a very clear and easy film to understand and imagine and visualize when you were hearing it. And with that clarity, I knew that it'll be an experience which will be fun for all the actors who are involved in it, and easy for them to also go through this journey. And all the characters were so interesting and so new that I think in the very first narration, I knew that I was going to do the film.
Fantastic. Shweta, what about you?
I think कंजूसी हमारे देश में it's an emotion. It's something that everybody has done or are still doing, like me. So as soon as I heard the story, I knew that I'm going to be a part of this world because this will be very relatable. So, and I think जो trailer का response आया अभी तक, it's been quite overwhelming because we knew कि इतने प्यार से film बनाई है तो एक कुछ ना कुछ अच्छा तो होगा ही, but इतना अच्छा. So just keeping our fingers crossed and hoping कि movie भी लोगों को इतनी पसंद आए.
I'm sure about it. But in real life, are you guys Kanjoos? Yeah, how do you manage your money, if I ask?
I think, you have to understand what कंजूसी means. I think कंजूसी sometimes किफ़ायत और कंजूसी में कई बार confusion हो जाता है.
Correct.
I think everybody who's like not had it all when they were born and while growing up respects and values money, and not just money, even the things that come. I don't think कंजूसी सिर्फ पैसों की होती है. You value things more than the others maybe sometimes. You know that, I remember, now I'm a sneakerhead, but I remember like, it was tough to like say I want one more pair of shoes. I had one pair of shoes. I had one school shoes and one shoe that was a sports shoe, there was a playing shoe, there was going out shoe, there was just one shoe. और जब तक वो जूता फट नहीं जाता तब तक दूसरा जूता नहीं आता था. So initially also for a very long time, like last 2 years, I realized that I can, if I want to, I can get more shoes. But I used to feel like 2 जूते हैं, एक formal है, एक sports है, और बस हो गया. 3 जूते तो बहुत ज़्यादा हो गए. But that's history now. But now I have a lot more shoes. But I think so even that sometimes gets कि आपको कोई ले गया कि यार चल मैं जूते खरीद रहा हूँ तू भी खरीद ले. And somebody will like मेरे को नहीं खरीदने. मैं बोलूँ यार तू बड़ा कंजूस है यार, जूते नहीं खरीदता. वो ज़रूरी नहीं उसकी कंजूसी है.
Correct.
और कई जगहों पे कंजूसी की ज़रूरत भी है, because I think we are also becoming that instant gratification world में ना कि ये भी चाहिए वो भी चाहिए और चाहिए actually कुछ नहीं.
Exactly.
They say ना what you actually need is something that you can pack in the next 5 minutes and leave with. And you'll realize that 90% of everything that you own is something that you don't use.
Yeah.
And we all are kind of guilty of that. So I think it's high time that most of us actually try to become a little more kanjoos and kifayat in life.
Well said, yeah. Now
I think it's a good time to ask yourself that are you a कंजूस?
Yeah.
And what kind of कंजूस are you?
Yeah.
Because काफी कुछ learn करने को है, like Kunal said.
I think Kanjoos has sort of, I don't know why in India has this negative connotation attached to it. कि आप कंजूस हो तो वो एक गलत बात हो गई. People don't like hearing that. So I think that this film sort of, I hope it breaks that notion that it's actually sometimes good to be a little conjoos.
Absolutely. Bilkul.
But as I mentioned in my intro, you know, the supremely talented cast, because I truly believe that the two of you follow this critical acclaim with your names. We have had some great projects coming in our way from the two of you. When you're working with someone who's, you know, equally talented or maybe more, does it also help you escalate your own performance?
100%. वो कहते हैं ना कि your best comes out with the best.
Yeah.
So which is why when I got to know, I wanted to do a comedy film because I wanted to try out different things. वरना मैं I love drama. But अब कितना ड्रामा कर करके yes आप explore कर सकते हो. But आप जब तक ट्राई नहीं करोगे तो आपको कैसे पता चलेगा कि और लर्निंग स्कोप कहाँ पर है. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई वाज वेरी श्योर दैट आई वांटेड टू डू अ लाइट हार्टेड फिल्म. आई वांटेड टू डू अ फिल्म जो देख के दैट विल मेक पीपल स्माइल, दैट विल मेक देम लाफ, और यू नो एक वो जो हार्ट में जो कोजी वाली फीलिंग होती है, आई वांटेड टू गिव दैट टू माय ऑडियंस. सो जब ये हुआ, एंड लाइक यू सेड कि कास्ट बहुत ज़रूरी है. मैंने कास्टिंग भी की है लाइफ में, वेयर आई हैव हेल्प्ड कास्टिंग डायरेक्टर्स कास्ट फॉर अ फिल्म और डिफरेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स. And when I heard his name, there's a certain validation. आपको ही पता है कि if this actor has chosen this story with these makers, then there is less to stress about. That कुछ तो बहुत सही हो रहा होगा that he said yes, and which is why I was like, okay, let's do this. And it's been a great decision, so thank you for that.
Kunal, what about you?
Oh, sorry, what was your question? Yeah, and of course, see, I think acting in general, not just comedy, it's all about action and reaction. And it's like a give and take. It's like playing a game of table tennis, right?
Yeah.
आप नए नौ सीखे के साथ खेलेंगे, आप खेल लेंगे, लेकिन वो गेम थोड़ी ऐसी होगी कि देखने में शायद किसी को मजा नहीं आए. लेकिन जब वो ओपोनेंट आपके लेवल का है, आपसे ऊपर है, then it आप मजबूर हैं कि you have to bring your A game or be better to make that game entertaining.
Correct.
And I think that's how acting also works. It's like a game of table tennis. If you're acting and reacting with a equally good or a better opponent, then it's making you also look good, because then the scene is going to work better, then the humor is going to come out better, the timing is going to work better. So it's a win-win for everybody. And I think that's why it's very important for all actors to keep insecurities aside, because you know, insecurities sometimes come in the way of your own talent. You sometimes feel that because this guy has got the most punchlines, he's going to steal the show. But that's never the case, because especially in comedy, a lot of comedy is in reaction. The dialogue may be heard 10 times, but the reaction to that dialogue is also important. And if you're doing that correctly, let that other person have that. And it's not a solo act. It's a scene with 4 people or 3 people or 2 people. But if there is one more actor in that, it's very important that that actor gets heard, seen, laughed or cried for the scene to work. Because if the film doesn't work, then it doesn't do anybody any justice. So yeah, I think it's important to give everybody that respect and fight for it when the time is right.
I'm sure.
I felt very safe, and safe in the sense that because I knew that he's aced this.
Yeah.
So I knew कि अगर मैं कहीं डगमगाई भी, I can totally ask कि where am I going wrong or how I can better this, which I did. So it was a great learning process for me.
Fantastic. But I feel there is this relatability factor that I could sense only through watching the trailer. Now when I watch the film, I'm sure I'll find more about it. But how much did the two of you relate to your individual characters? Because I think the biggest thing for an actor is that when the audience watches the film, if I forget your real names and I'm only focusing on your characters, I think the two of you have aced it. So how was that relatability thing?
I think for me, Jamna Prasad Pandey was a character who may be from a different region and may have had a different upbringing, but I think somewhere principally he functions at the same level that I do.
Yeah.
The love for family, the sweet Kamina Harami that he is, and the kind of relationship that he has with his son, his wife, and his parents, where the respect's there, whether it's commanded or given, but there's always a friendship. You can see that somewhere, and how he kind of is somebody who believes in making light of a situation. He's not somebody who sees something and says, "Oh, how will I deal with it?" So there was a lot that I related with him as a character, and the way he behaved with the other characters in the film. So it was easier for me to kind of make that person kind of come alive by obviously giving him the nuances that he needed to take from Kunal Kemmu and what Kunal Kemmu needed to borrow from Jamna Prasad Pandey.
Okay. Shweta?
what I really liked about the Pandey, हमारी जो Pandey family है, वो है कि खामियां, कमियां, अच्छाइयां सब में होती हैं. So इसमें भी that he is a पति कंजूस हैं, तो हैं. Until the time he doesn't want to change, no matter what you do, that person is not going to change.
Correct.
But that doesn't make him a bad person. There are so many likable things about him. And what I like about Madhuri is that she keeps trying. She knows कि पति कंजूस है, and she keeps saying, this is what I want, and this is what I want. And he keeps on saying, जब sale होगा, ये होगा. But she does not give up. Also, like he said, the love for the family.
Yeah.
That relationships are so important, and I think Madhuri और हमारा core to find that silver lining in everything. I think that is very important, especially in today's day and age where there are so many things that are going off and wrong. So it's important to hold on to those precious little linings.
I love when she says, "Apple nahi dila rahe ho."
Apple nahi dila.
It's like it makes you laugh for a second, and then you realize that this is something you would maybe want to watch and have a good time.
We began this conversation in a way that saying we are so happy with the response, and we never thought. Actually, genuinely, I've learned to be very realistic, and somewhere I had this sinking feeling that this film might disappear in all the noise and the crowd because maybe it doesn't have the clout, or it won't make the noise that it should. But it kind of reinforces your belief in simplicity sometimes, because if something touches you in your core, then people will love it no matter where it is. And it's so heartwarming to know the kind of response that's genuinely coming its way. And if this is something that cracked you up, which is a simple line apple nahi dila rahe, then there is so much more in the film.
I know.
That I think they also thought ki pata nahi ye connect karega ki nahi karega. But if that's connected with you, you're going to have a great time in the film, because there's a lot more of that coming in.
I'm sure. I think there is an audience for everything today, and a well-cut trailer is very important. That I truly believe it sort of initiates someone to have a thought ki I want to watch this show or movie. I think the same happened with Loot Case. Like when it was coming, no one really thought it's gonna, make some noise or go and become a big thing. But I remember it came in the middle of the lockdown, and oh my God, that film was being played in every household, literally. So I'm sure the same is gonna happen with Kanjoos Makhichoos, fingers crossed. But Kunal, as someone who has, this director and writer instinct as well as being an actor, does that ever interfere with your role and responsibility of being on shoot as an actor?
Thankfully not. I think I'm able to disconnect from all of those callings, and thank God I got an opportunity to kind of put that to use in my own film. But because I've grown up on set. I think whatever these callings are, me being a writer, director, they were all kind of developed being as an actor on set, by watching people, by learning and seeing and observing and watching so many films. But I know that it's a teamwork for everybody, including a director and writer, and that's why when they say when you prep for a film, all of that prep for me, 99% of that prep happens before we go on to set, because I believe the day you're on set, the meter is on. Somebody's spending money for those 10 hours, so we're not supposed to waste those 10 hours discussing. We should only be shooting that time. So everything else should happen before that. And that is the process which is the most taxing sometimes, because you're still imagining and you're trying to figure this. And what happens is, at least for me, that's when I establish my relationship with the writer and director and understand what have they seen and what can I bring to it. So whatever brainstorming, argument or creative inputs we have to give, take, subtract, minus happens way before we reach set.
Yeah.
So by the time I'm on set, I'm anyways just an actor who is in sync with the director and writer. A little bit of improvisation, because other actors also join you, happen there. But I don't think I want to... Dialogue sometimes, yes, maybe in comedies, because in the flow, when you write it, you don't know the meter of an actor. Those happen by improvising, but everything, the buck has to stop at the director. He's the captain of the ship. So what works has to make sense to him. If it doesn't make sense to him, I've never felt the need to supersede him, and I don't think anybody should.
I'm sure. Agreed to that. But Shweta, I remember that, when there was a time when people used to say ki taboo hai to picture chalegi hi. The same way I feel about you. That if you are there in the web space, because honestly I've consumed so much content where I've seen you, in the web space, I seriously feel that this is a space that gives you the content that we need to watch and we want to watch more of it. I don't know why maybe movies are still not there, being made out there. But the web space has everything that honestly, as an audience member, I would love to watch. And you have been a part of plenty of that. Do you feel you attract this kind of work in the OTT space?
I think in life, gut is very important. Your instinct is very important and you need to protect that. And like we were talking about the trailer and the film, I swear जब जो ये response आया ना, तो कहीं ना कहीं मुझे लगा ये यार not bad कि अभी तक जो भी चुना है जिस भी reason की वजह से, and that has happened because my intention, I swear, has been so pure. That I am here because I love acting. There is nothing that makes me happy. Of course, there's travel and friends and family, वो सब एक तरफ है. लेकिन जो कैमरे के सामने जो मजा आता है, to play a character and live that life, I really enjoy that. And I think that shows. Because वो purity कहीं ना कहीं लोगों से connect करेगी. And when you see me on screen, I would always want that you see the character first and not the actor. So I feel, that's why I want to be choosy about each and every project because I feel it is a responsibility which I want to acknowledge and appreciate and have that yes, if people are thinking like this about me, I want to respect that and even be more choosy क्योंकि जब कुछ काम नहीं होता ना तब चूजी होना बहुत मुश्किल होता है when you're flooded with projects and some excellent scripts या फिर not so great scripts and you're wondering अरे क्या करूँ चलो पैसे के लिए कर लिया यार घर पे नहीं बैठना कर लिया नहीं you have to wait it out because ये नवाज भाई ने मुझसे बोला था हरामखोर के time which has stayed with me that कुछ actors को तो चूजी होना चाहिए so I'm like हाँ यार I will be that actor and it's not easy there are days where I'm literally crying because there are months अभी after Mirzapur in fact I think I'm not shooting anything for the next 2-3 months as well but I'm okay I don't want to shoot because it takes a toll it changes you physically emotionally so अपना भी ख्याल रखना बहुत ज़रूरी है and देखते हैं फिर
I think she's also the kind of actor who she invests in a character a lot and because I've spent doing this film with her and when she was talking about Mirzapur also and she's trying to get into that she asks a lot of questions which is always good and those questions are not they're not random questions. You understand that those questions are coming from and also more importantly once I realized with this because she wasn't sure because she was doing comedy I think for the first time and so she had the right questions ki slapstick, underplayed, too loud, this and you could see that she's putting it to use. And that's where I think the respect for her as an actor kind of grows is because she knows the questions to ask and then to put them to use. But I also think she's also somebody who takes on a character really seriously. It becomes heavy on her. So I think we dealt with a nice Madhuri because she's like a fun thing. I can't imagine what being with her as Golu or Mirzapur would be because she gets into a lot of them. I think she's borderline method. She's not a very let's go kind. She's like ये line क्यों बोली? Then she'll send it to a writer friend saying ये सही लग रहा है क्या? ये गलत लग रहा है? It's like बाप रे तो बड़ा थकाने वाला काम है.
But do you feel it's like the Indian cinema is finally getting its due because it was such a proud moment we won 2 Oscars and a lot has been spoken about South and other industries but I feel the Indian cinema in general there have been so many collaborations we are finally getting the global recognition we always had some of it but now we're like
I honestly have a different take on this. I don't think we need anybody else outside to tell us how good or bad we are. I think it's great. I mean, to be on that platform and receive that. But that should not mean that we are finally getting our due. We're still a country that has more manpower than any of those countries. We make more films. We just don't have the number of theatres because, I don't know the number, I think 4% of the country actually goes to the theatres to watch films and we still have these collections. The day that goes to 10%, I think Hollywood will be trying to please us to make films here because it's a money game. They have a bigger world market because they speak a language that's spoken more. But we are more everywhere else. We are consuming it in more countries. So it's great. I think it's also happening because they realize that now. So they have to recognize, they have to open their eyes. But what's kept us going is just we kept doing what we do. And I think not just as a country, as a human being also, if you just keep doing what you believe in and you just keep at it, eventually it'll happen. It does not mean that, oh, finally I'm getting my due. What does that do? What does that mean? Does that mean it's the end of it? Or does that mean that next year we have to win all the Oscars that are there? Nothing, right? So when we won the first Olympic gold, that didn't mean that we are getting our due. It means now we are getting better at what we do. So we'll just keep getting better at it. They recognize it, very good.
Yeah.
They don't recognize it, we are recognizing our work.
Correct.
It's just like that.
Globally, yeah. What I meant was globally we were recognized in a massive manner this year.
Because I think globally now people are, thanks to OTTs and internets, we are now aware of this.
Exactly.
They're understanding that within this country there are a lot of other cultures. Not everything is Bollywood. We are not Bollywood. We are the Indian film industry. It's an easier slang for you to pick up. We are not all about Slumdog Millionaire is your version of India.
Exactly.
This is not India. Similarly, how we imagine America to be, and that's why I think what A.R. Rahman's comment today was very interesting. He said we are sending the wrong films to them.
Exactly.
Because their understanding of India is not this.
Not this.
What we may think is not, like they gave Slumdog Millionaire an Oscar.
Yeah.
Because they said ki this is India.
This is India.
Salam Bombay is the India that we live in, right?
Yeah.
So, but this is changing. Thanks to Instagram, social media, everything. People are traveling more, people are more aware of, I think not just Indians, but Americans, Mexicans, Italians, they're all watching Hindi films now.
Exactly.
Like we watched a lot of Korean
Also,
films
the
with
several
subtitles.
global film festivals that happen that contribute a lot to them understanding the kind of cinema
But
we
I think
generate.
it's the OTT now because global film festivals were also just for the film industry. But the common man everywhere in the world is now watching stuff. There'll be a Mexican kid who's probably watching Mirzapur and saying, I love it. I know somebody who's not even an Indian has seen Mirzapur, is a big Mirzapur fan.
Wow.
He's African.
Nice. Lovely. Shweta?
Totally agreed. And वही है कि OTT का फायदा यही है कि an art cinema language से restrict नहीं होना चाहिए and नहीं होता है. So I think we've been making good films for a very long time. Now it's accessible. Because now also Friday aake the movie still stays, so you can see it even later. I think it's a great time to be a part of the industry creatively and even as an audience.
Fantastic. But thank you so much for this conversation. It was lovely chatting with the two of you. And all the very best for Kanjoos Makhichoos.
Thank you so
Most
much.
welcome.